right, let's see what the sound is when we come into this. See if it sounds nice. Ooh, not bad. Not bad, folks. It sounds good. Welcome once again to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. Thank you all for being here with us and enjoying our friendly romp through the weird, unknown, and mysterious. Ooh, there's still a little sound. Let me try reconnecting the network again. Just a second. Please stand by. And action. All right, so now we're live and ready and underway. It sounds nice and clear. Yes, very nice and clear. All right, so we are doing good here. Hope you guys are doing great, having a wonderful weekend. And thanks so much for dedicating a part of your weekends to being here with us. That, of course, means the world. It's always a fantastic feeling to turn on the lights and see so many of you coming in and be a part of what we're doing. As always, I'm not alone. I've got my not the big toe. The big toe is not here tonight, but I got the firstborn right here with me, Mr. Sheldon Thomas. Thank you for coming in and being a part of tonight with me.
Of course, anytime. I just need to know, who's the big toe then?
The big toe? That's Don.
Yeah. Oh, he's okay.
The big toe on the foot. Yeah. Maybe you're
okay.
You're the pinky toe or something. I don't know. You can be a toe, whichever one you want to be.
No, I'd rather be a branch. He can have the toe.
You can have the toe. All right. Well, I see that you seem to be coming live to us from the Paranormal Portal laboratories. Is that right?
That's right. We're working on some fantastic stuff here that you guys will be able to see. We're hard at work here, my team and I.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Crafting these shows ain't easy, but Sheldon's got his fingers on the pulse over there, or his fingers on something. We're not sure. Can't see his fingers. But anyway, moving right along.
Yes, we are.
Welcome. I don't know. I get a kick out of myself sometimes. But we have a lot of fun stuff on the board for you tonight. I got a whole host of really weird news stories tonight. Some of them are from the archives, but they're all really there's a lot of stupid in tonight's news. So I'm kind of excited to break into that. What do you think, Sheldon?
Oh, I'm excited to go into some stupid.
We're always looking forward to doing some stupid here on the portal. It's kind of our daily bread. But anyway, let's break into it and see what we find out. Let's go to the news. All right, folks, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and joined by Sheldon. And we are going to break into the Paranormal Portal news at this point. We can't be held too much. You can't be held responsible for this, what you're about to hear. There's a lot of dumb in tonight's news fest, but there's some that's also kind of cool. I'm going to copy a link right now for the first one into the, well, let me do this. Let me peel it off first. I'm going to copy this into the TFR chat as well, because I think it's kind of interesting, and it's also kind of disturbing. I think it's also a lot fake. This hasn't come out as such, but I'm going to post the link in. Well, I'll post the link in both in the chat on YouTube as well as TFR. You guys can check it out. There is a video attached to this article as well. I don't think this is legit. I really don't. And that is, and you'll see why in just a minute. But let me tell you that tonight's first news story is coming from mysterious, or no, wait, what is it coming from? Oh, unexplained-mysteries.com, as always. And it is insanely lifelike robot has human-like expressions. This is as of December 6, 2021. Now, I saw this video long before I saw this news clip. And I got to tell you, I don't think it's legit. It's just, I don't believe it, first of all. But anyway, let's get into the story. It says, British robotics company Engineered Arts has revealed what could be the world's most realistic human-like robot. At first glance, the deeply impressive robot looks like something that has been produced using computer graphics for a science fiction movie or a TV show. In actual fact, however, it is a real-life robot, a moving functional device capable of the most impressive display of lifelike human facial expressions and emotions we've ever seen. Known as Amica, the robot is a fully articulated head and neck, as well as multiple articulations on its face, to enable a wide range of subtle expressions. A video showcasing the robot's abilities, which can be viewed below, has already racked up 1.5 million views in just a few days and has been featured in numerous news outlets across the globe. First look at Amica, a most advanced humanoid robot from at Engineering Arts, designed as a platform for AI and human-robot interaction. What does that mean exactly? What kind of interaction? I'd be fine interacting with R2-D2. I mean, I don't need my robot to have a face, but anyway, the video caption reads, Amica is not currently able to walk. However, the company has been looking into the possibility. If the robot is anything to go by, the idea of future living alongside intelligent, lifelike robots might not actually be quite as far-fetched as it seems. Amica is due to make its debut public appearance at CES 2022 in January next year. It's really weird. I guess I can just show it here on YouTube because I don't think it's a long video. And it is coming from the Engineered Arts, this company. So I would imagine they would like the exposure anyway. So for those of you on YouTube, you'll be able to look and see what's going on. I don't buy this. I'm sorry. It just to me really smacks of AI. It really does. Or not AI, but of CGI. And watch the video and you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm going to kill the sound and just watch the expressions as it plays. And, rolling the arm like that is no big deal. But watch the facial expressions. I just don't see that being articulated tissue and stuff. And it gets even more impressive here in a second. If this is legit, I just really don't believe it is. It would be like right now, the robots that you do see that are articulated up to this point have been obviously very unhuman-like. The expressions and all that stuff has really never played out like this. But look at that. I mean, I don't know. I just don't buy it. I just don't. I think it's too far, too fast, and doesn't make a lot of sense that it's so far different from everything else we've seen up to this point. I mean, it really does articulate and change expressions as fast as we do, and that to me it's a little much. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll maintain their position. But I suspect at some point it's going to come out, because look at everything else on the shelf behind it. Nothing looks quite like what they're showing us, except that they're just sculptured faces and some with lights in the eyes. So nothing else in this frame looks like what we're looking at in the foreground. I just think it was composites that was done with CGI. But I guess time will tell, and maybe they'll be, oh, no, guys, this wasn't really real, but this is what we're working on. Well, great. But anyway, my 2 cents. What do you think, Sheldon?
I guess my only contention to what you're saying is that I've seen a lot of posts from people saying that there's something that we naturally fear, and that's something that looks like us but isn't us. So it's also possible that they had this technology already, but people got creeped out by it, so maybe they resorted to a faker-looking face, like for the AI presentations that have been released, because people might get creeped out by something that looks a lot like us and can do those facial expressions like us.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be absolutely right. And it's anybody's guess at this point, but this is the story and they're sticking to it. So in that regard, more power to them if it is legit. I just think this is like a light year leap ahead from everything that I've ever seen trying to articulate human expression up to this point outside of CGI. The rapid changing of the whole facial expressions and stuff. Even when there is sound, you don't really hear the, that you usually hear from a lot of those actuators and stuff in prior videos that I've seen. But I could be wrong. But that's the first story on our newscast tonight. But let's get to the next one. Like I said, there's a lot of stupid coming up, and I think we're starting the stupid from here on out. This one isn't so much stupid, but I'm kind of curious because I didn't read through it beforehand, but it sounds like pretty much a nightmare scenario. And I don't know if this is going to be, it's coming from the Bazaar, so I'm sure it's not going to be a real, I don't know. It's probably not going to be too intense, but let's see what this guy did. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Man told by doctor he had 30 minutes to live. Can you imagine a situation like that? You go to the doctor, I got this pain. Oh my God, you got like 30 minutes to live. What do you do with that time? And I don't mean to laugh because, God, that'd be a horrible situation to be in. But it says, when Luis Ortiz went to the doctor with a headache, he was confronted with some rather unsettling news. Having been crippled by what he was describing as the worst headache of his life, Ortiz, who was from California, went to his local hospital where he was shockingly told that he had a tapeworm larva embedded in his brain and that he only had like 30 minutes left to live. He was immediately admitted for an emergency operation, and fortunately, after a bit of effort, surgeons were able to remove the invader from inside of his head. Oh my God, this is horrible. Oh, this is not what I was expecting. Around 1,000 patients in the United States are hospitalized each year with the most unpleasant or of afflictions, which can occur if a person swallows microscopic eggs found in contaminated water. Once hatched, the tiny larvae can make their way into the brain and block off circulation. It's probably more gratifying to me to be living because if I would have waited a little bit longer, then I probably wouldn't be here right now. A tapeworm larva. Yeah. That, the funny thing is, this is a true story as far as I know, folks, but there was a time when they were peddling weight loss cures and weight loss plans, and one of which was to sell people tapeworm eggs. And, And because when people have a tapeworm, these things usually sit in the digestive tract and absorb most of the stuff from the food. And so people get all, lose weight in a hurry. And then the solution of which was to either take their cure or to get really drunk, because then apparently the tapeworms would release their grip and be processed through the digestive system and excreted. So I don't know about the whole in the brain thing. I wonder how many people didn't make it through their diet plan. Right? Is that creepy or what? Right?
That's terrifying. Like if your doctor came in after your exam and it's like, hey, so you have 30 minutes to live. It's like, what?
Yeah. What? That's not nearly enough time for what I would do. Yeah, that's a creepy story.
I wanted to read something that I was thinking about too,
okay.
But it was something on the last article.
Okay.
Dubmass11 said, anything released to us is already obsolete in the grand scheme of tech. Nobody truly knows what they have going on, not to mention tech is the number one industry to invest in right now. I think that's a good point, actually, too.
It is. And granted, as we've talked about a few times before, whatever we have at a consumer level, the government has things that are 30 to 50 years more advanced than that. And that makes you wonder, what does that mean? What does 30 years of advancement look like? And I just think of when I was in junior high school, computers first started really hitting the home market. And I'm talking like the Apple IIe's and stuff like that. And we had them in the school and it was, at the time it was revolutionary, but look at, within that time frame until now, if they're 30 or 50 years advanced to what we have at home, that's incredible. That's amazing. So that's a good point. It's a good point. It could be. And I don't know. It's just something, I don't know. I just look at it and it's like, God, I don't think that's real. It's just the way that they framed it too. It's not really, it's only the part of the torso is in frame and, and up to the head. And it just seems like it's framed in a weird way. I don't know. I could
see that. Yeah. Like they have a screen over the face and then they just plant something onto it. I could see that too.
Or the whole thing is just CGI in the foreground and everything in the background is real. I don't know.
Oh,
just something about it. Yeah. Something about it doesn't, and I do play with CGI on the side as well. And I can tell you that you can make things that look amazing, and especially if you split a screen like that, you could, make it look like there's a spaceship landing behind you, and it looks very, very convincing. But anyway, let's go to the next one. This is not the kind of problem you usually run into in the air when you're traveling, but this is a new one to me. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com as of November 5th, 2015. It's from the archives, but flatulent sheep forced emergency landing. Forces an emergency landing. They got flatulent sheep that are causing problems, Sheldon. And it says Singapore Airlines flight was forced to make an unscheduled stop due to a rather unexpected issue. The plane, which had been carrying more than 2,000 sheep from Sydney in Australia to their new home in Kuala Lumpur, which is Malaysia, had been making good progress when the smoke alarm suddenly sounded to indicate that there was a fire somewhere on board. Too much methane. The pilots acted quickly and brought the aircraft down for an emergency landing in Denpasar. But when they went to investigate the problem, they discovered that there wasn't really a fire at all. They eventually concluded that the smoke indication was the result of exhaust gases and manure produced by the sheep. In other words, the alarm had been triggered by the farting farm animals. I think we have a problem. It's probably the guy that had to work back there. He just hit the fire alarm. He's like, no!
I can't take it!
It's not fair. Let me out. He's pulling the lever. There's a fire. Oh, no. I don't know, folks. It could be. Just saying. But that'd be a tough commute, I think, if you got to sit with 2,000 sheep in a hold. That would be pretty ugly.
Oh, yeah.
But that's another fine example of our newscast tonight. Let's see. But wait, there's more. When you think of prison life and stuff, it's a pretty tough thing. And having worked in the prison system myself I tell you that it can be a pretty daunting place. Very intimidating, very very hard to maintain any kind of optimism. But when you think of the guards, I think that this plan is pretty disturbing. And this comes from November 11th of 2015 in the archives. But this is from Indonesia, folks. They have a new plan on their corrections, and that is Indonesia to use crocodiles as prison guards.
What? Why?
I don't think I want to escape anymore.
Well, it might work.
A remarkable new plan could see drug convicts incarcerated within a prison guarded by crocodiles. Not content with the potential for death row inmates or drug inmates to escape by bribing the guards, Indonesia's anti-drugs agency has put forward plans to build a radical new type of prison. Unlike conventional jails, however, this one will be replacing human guards with crocodiles. We'll place as many crocodiles in there as we can, said anti-drugs chief Budi Waseso, who plans to scour the archipelago for the reptiles. I will search for the most ferocious type of crocodile. You can't bribe crocodiles. You can't convince them to let inmates escape. The plan is still very much at the drawing board stage at this point. However, authorities seem to be convinced that staffing a prison with ferocious reptiles is a better idea than using human guards. Where exactly the prison will be located, how much it will cost, and when it will open, however, are all currently still under discussion, as is the question of how the animals will be housed and fed. Well, it is on death row, so I'm just saying, two
plenty
birds,
of food there.
2 birds, 1 stone. Just saying. Whether the idea will actually work in practice remains a matter of some debate. That's disturbing. I mean, you got to admit, though, there is a lot of corruption in Indonesia in that regard. It's like if you have legal troubles, you just have to open your wallet and keep sending cash out. And generally speaking, in a lot of cases, you can get off of whatever problem you've had. But that is a new plan. That's pretty convincing that they probably won't have a lot of escapes. All right.
Ancient Ruby says, personally, I would put all the criminals, such as pedos, on their own island with sharks completely surrounding them for no escape, no trees to make a boat, and let them all rot.
Oof. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty solid plan if you want to keep people
I can't
in a
argue
space.
against
If you want to keep people in one space, you just utilizing natural defenses like that, I think is pretty solid. It's also pretty terrifying because what if someone doesn't like you on the island? You're going swimming. No, I'm just saying that could become a problem. All right. This is a weird one, and I guess, I don't know what's wrong with people sometimes, but there are issues of people like, for instance, eating things that probably aren't real good for you. One of which is called a geophage, and that is actually people that are addicted to eating dirt. They actually eat dirt. They have a craving for it. And I think they've kind of delved into that and found that it has to do with some nutritional mineral deficiency or something, and the body just decides it wants to eat dirt. So this one, I don't know how you categorize this one. But from unexplained-mysteries.com, woman is addicted to eating kitchen sponges. Wow. Well, I don't know why I went there, but in my head I went to, wonder what kind of movements this woman has. And
wow.
Can you drink enough water to move that? I'm not sure. I don't think there's enough fiber in the world to move a bunch of kitchen sponges through the tubes. A 23-year-old from North Tyneside is addicted to eating sponges dipped in apple washing up liquid.
Oh my God.
Emma Thompson, who has developed a peculiar habit when she was just 3 years old, is now so hopelessly addicted to eating sponges that she munches through 20 of them every day. Describing the behavior as a guilty pleasure, Miss Thompson even took the habit one step further by dipping the sponges in apple-scented fairy liquid to enhance their bland flavor. What? Oh. What is this from? This is from October of 2015. Yeah. Oh, there's a picture. She looks like a normal person. Doesn't... I don't know what she eats the scrubby too on the other side. Oh dear God. The medical explanation for her peculiar habit is a condition known as pica, which sees sufferers crave inedible foodstuffs such as dirt, chalk, paper, and other similarly unappetizing things. Some people have a cigarette. I just have a sponge, she says. Some people go out.
That is not the same.
It isn't. Some people go out for a steak. I'd rather go for a sponge. I like the smell and taste of the washing up liquid on the sponge. As soon as someone mentions a sponge, or I'm washing the dishes, or I see a packet of sponges in the shop, I need to have one. Oof, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do with that one, folks. That's just twisted. Probably not going to gain a bunch of weight. I mean, that's pretty solid weight control program. I think we're just down to 2 minutes. I might have time for one more. I don't know if it's going to be this one or... Oh, here we go. This one I got to read. This one's so dumb. Here we go. This is the piece de resistance of our newscast tonight. This is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Woman uses builder's foam on hair by mistake. A woman ended up in a hospital after accidentally using a can of builder's foam instead of hair mousse. According to reports, the mystery woman, who is believed to be from Eastern Europe, had applied a large quantity of her hair mousse to her head before realizing to her horror what she had actually used was a canister of expanding builder's foam traditionally used to fill the gaps in the walls. The image of her sitting in the emergency room has since spread across the internet. It isn't exactly clear exactly how the hospital staff managed to remove the mass of solidified foam from her head. There you go, folks. I'm going to put this in the TFR so you guys can see it as well. This is some weird, strange, weird. And stuff you don't see every day. And that's probably a good thing. Look at her sitting there, that poor woman. That poor woman.
Just that look of disappointment.
I don't know what to do with this. It's like should have tried to at least style it while it was wet. It looks like a freeze frame from an explosion or something. Like, well, that's an all day look right there. Oh no. I'm betting the method they used was something like bzzz, and they got to work. They got to work.
Yeah, there's no way.
Giving her a whole new look.
Oh my God.
There you go, folks. This is what happens when you don't read the label it says.
She looks like Johnny Bravo dub masses.
Well, thank you very much. Oh, no. Yeah, there you go, folks. Be careful. Read the labels. But this is going to conclude our newscast for the night. All right, we're going to go to break, folks. We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes. Don't go away. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Second half hour of our show is now here. I gotta admit, I spent about the most of the break laughing at that woman's picture too. It's so funny. It's
yeah.
The look of disappointment on her face is just priceless, and you gotta feel bad for her because she probably had somewhere to be, and that was she was gonna do her hair up.
She went Super Saiyan on that hair.
She probably did her hair's just a big pile. And the thing about that foam is that it starts out like maybe like a dollop in your hand, but it expands.
Yeah.
Oh man, that just kills me. Super Saiyan. Oh, I love it. That's so funny. It's just one of those. I thought that was a good place to end for the news. That's one for the books. That's one for the ages, folks.
Oh yeah, that one's timeless now.
You got to clip that one, Sheldon.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, Super Saiyan. That's a perfect way to put it. That's funny. She went all Goku. But anyway, folks, we got some actual other paranormal. That was paranormal. It definitely was, because that is not normal. I hope she liked her new look after they got that all straightened out. What are we doing? What are we doing, Sheldon? What am I doing here?
I don't know. What's next?
I don't know how to top that.
I need to get this out of my mind.
I know
too much.
The tough part is I don't know what to do after that story. It was so good. I almost don't know what to do. So here's
Portal Mom in the chat says Dad put Colgate toothpaste in his hair once.
I did, or she mean
You,
me?
I think.
I don't know. I don't remember that one. If that's the case,
Unless it was Papa.
I think she means I think she means Papa. I don't know. Portal Mom, you mean Papa, or who we talking about? Because I don't remember putting toothpaste in my hair. So I'm not sure where this is going. But yeah,
She could mean when you were little.
Yeah, anything's possible when I was little. Jeez, that was all kinds of stupid then. I'm not that I've gotten much better, but at least.
It's Papa.
Yeah,
okay.
Papa. Okay. Yeah, well,
okay.
That doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't.
One time, no, I don't know if it's just this. No, I won't say it. It says one time he did something that was so freaking funny. They had this dog. They had this dog, Tucker, and he would sometimes get up on the bed with Mom and Dad, or maybe every night. I don't remember how it worked exactly, but my dad used to grab him and just go like that. And one time Tucker jumped up on the bed, and my dad grabbed him, went like that, and then realized he had the back end.
Wrong end.
Abort. He had the wrong end before he raspberried the wrong end of that one.
Oh no.
You have to understand, my dad was one of those stoic people that never showing much emotion, but that is one that will live on forever. He's mortarboating the wrong end on that one. Oh, it's just poetic. I don't know, just one of those hilarious things, but that's the family tree is all full of all kinds of snags and branches. So
I can't imagine the pink eye after that. Dumbass gave me that idea. I'll give credit.
Just all swollen shut like a Star Wars thing. Oh my God.
Oh, this isn't a paranormal show anymore. Today it's a comedy show.
That'd be Pink Head, I think, at that point.
Oh, my face is so red in the camera. Oh my God.
Good thing you're in the laboratory.
Yeah.
It looked more shocking in the verdant fields of green. Sure. Yeah, this is the show, folks. This is why you keep coming back.
Yeah. Yep.
I just keep trying to picture his face when you realize that.
Stop.
Oh, those stories. Aren't you glad you tuned in, folks?
Yeah.
This is how it goes.
Oh, Nina says he thought it was Brill creme. As
Brill
for
cream.
Tucker, he made me promise not to tell, so of course I told everyone.
Oh, that's so funny. There you are, folks. It's like sitting at a family gathering here, and you're all a part of it because you're all family. So, hope you like it. But anyway, let's get to some of the paranormal that we do so love here on the Paranormal Portal, and we're going to go back to a Money Made article here, and this is an article we've been going through, but it's real life supernatural horrors, and we've been reading through this for quite a while. And full disclosure, Money Made is, I think, one of those sites where they just aggregate a bunch of articles and they or a bunch of Reddit comments and stuff, and then they farm a lot of comment or commercials on it and stuff, but they've done a really good job with this one. This is a really good list, and it's been some really fantastic stories on here. So we're going to read through a few of these and see where we end up, and then, of course, in the second hour, we're going to get into some of the cryptid, a few reports from Phantoms and Monsters, as well as an article from Brent Swanser is also on the board here somewhere, and I got one other one. Oh, yeah, that one I might hold that one until more like Christmas. Or more towards Christmas, because that was a cool article. I found that may be perfect for the holiday season as we get closer. But as it stands now, we're on number 33 from this Money Made article, and I hope you guys enjoy this. I love these stories. They're pretty good. So this one is number 33, Behind Closed Doors. It says, I work in a restaurant, and one afternoon at about 3 when business is typically really slow, I'd gotten an order and needed to go into the walk-in cooler to get something to make it. And as soon as I walked around the line and looked down the hall at the walk-in door, I suddenly saw a tall figure with a white t-shirt, gray cloth shorts, like gym shorts, and dark tennis shoes walking into it, and then the door closed behind him. I had no idea who it could have been. Aw, thank you, Maggie. It says, Brent, can you please say happy birthday to Garth? We're listening driving today. Well, happy birthday, Garth.
Happy birthday, Garth. Get one extra for free.
Yeah, you get a couple of them. Congratulations on making it another year. That's always a big thing. So I hope it's a magical day for you. And thank you once again for your kindness, Maggie. Just a quick round of applause. So he had no idea who it could have been that he saw walking into this cooler. It says, initially, I thought it must be a bartender who worked there at the time because he was also a tall and slimish guy. So I figured he was just grabbing some drinks to stock the bar before the dinner shift began. Well, I headed down the hall and opened the door and then reached for what I needed and turned towards where the drinks were stored. I was planning to say something to my coworker, but nobody was there. I then looked the other way and still nothing. I thought it was really weird, but I just grabbed what I needed and went out and finished my day of work. It wasn't until the next day when I thought about it deeper and realized that I could have actually been in that walk-in room with a supernatural apparition of some kind. The door was the only way in and out of the room, and I remember seeing the figure so clearly, clear enough that I can still vividly recall all the details about it that I was just able to describe to you here. I tried to get my manager to look at the camera, so the footage that would have covered the general area at the time, but he just blew me off saying that ghosts aren't real and that I was full of it. But this wasn't just a normal objection to a request. He somehow seemed really against the idea of looking into this, like possibly he didn't want to know if it was real or not, and would rather just pass it off as my imagination, or maybe like he knew something about this and didn't want me to find out. It was a very, very strange experience for me. And the worst part of all is that it never occurred to me to talk to any of the other managers that work there about it, to see if they might be more willing to look at the video than my immediate manager was. This thought didn't occur to me until many months after it had passed. And the video was definitely long gone by that point. I know for a fact that I saw that door close behind that figure, and I just don't know if he had opened it himself or if someone else had opened it and then it just closed slowly after they had walked out. So, yeah, there you have the story, one and only paranormal experience, and I still have no idea how it could possibly have been anything but a real, legitimate ghost. Yeah, it's kind of hard to ignore that. I mean, if you see something and then you go into the area and there's nothing there, well, chances are you saw a ghost. Right, Sheldon?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just glad it started out with, I don't believe in ghosts, but this one time, I'm just glad it didn't start out like that. I'm happy.
Yeah, that's kind of refreshing when they don't start out that way. But we don't know who did that story because it's just given us a permalink. So, number 34, even ghosts have to do their business. As far as haunted houses go, mine is pretty intense. We have several experiences over the years, but this is one of my favorite of them all. It all started when I walked in from the garage door one day and my brother and sister. Hold on. At our house, there's a door to your left when you come in. That is the downstairs bathroom that leads to a bedroom. That bedroom happens to be my bedroom. So we were talking and coming through the door, everything normal, and then all of a sudden the bathroom door loudly slammed shut. The lights come on in the bathroom, and we could suddenly hear the sound of a woman's voice yelling, "Out!" At first, I believed that it was just my sister and that we must have walked in on her when she was using the bathroom. But I quickly realized that this was not the case. I go around the house and the other door to the bedroom and enter, and the lights are out and the window is locked from the inside. I go to check the other door leading to the bathroom, and this one is locked as well, despite there not appearing to be anyone in the bathroom. I could clearly hear the sweeping motion of feet, as well as seeing a shadow appear to be pacing back and forth on the floor. I use a coat hanger to unlock the bathroom door after screaming for whoever it was to answer and announcing that I was armed. I believe I had a large metal rod in my hand, but just in case things got ugly with who or whatever was inside there. I turn the knob and then open the door. A huge wave of cold air floods the room from the bathroom, but no one was there. My sister was at a friend's house. I quickly confirmed the house was completely empty and locked up tight. I have no idea what kind of presence had created the sounds and sights that came from the bathroom that day. All I know is that an elderly woman died in the house in the late 70s. My room was her former room because it was handicap accessible. So I have my theories about the connection to that, but at the end of the day, who really knows for sure? Yeesh. That's some profound activity, though. And a lot of times ghostly activity is very subtle, almost unnoticeable in many cases. And a lot of people assume it's because it requires a lot of energy, and they don't always have a lot of energy to be able to execute huge things like that. But that's some pretty significant activity. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, assuming it's real. Assuming it's real, that there's a lot of things that this apparition, spirit, whatever it might be, did to interact into the physical world. Making sound, causing those vibrations in the air, type of thing. It's pretty powerful stuff.
It really is. Being able to vocalize, for one, I don't think that's real common. To be able to slam a door and to have all that activity behind the door, hearing the shuffling of feet and the shadow moving around, those are pretty significant things. And then to open the door and feel that rush of cold air coming out, it's like, oof, yeah, that's not good. Pretty freaky. And, I don't know, they said it's their favorite story, so it sounds like there's a lot of other things that happened as well. So anyway, let's go to the next one and see what's going on here. Number 35, your guess is as good as mine. I was out watching the stars one night and saw a light looking like the ones you see on airplanes. But this one was moving in a square formation. It was too dark to see exactly what kind of vehicle the light was attached to, but the light was moving repeatedly in the same location for a while. And then I saw how the vehicle started moving away. The sudden speed increase made me think that it could not possibly be an airplane, and I then pondered whether it could be a helicopter. But if that was the case, it must have had a rather large square platform beneath it, with a rail or a beam for the light to follow. So that theory didn't make sense or seem plausible either. I can't say definitely what I saw in the sky that night, but to me the most obvious explanation was that it was some kind of alien spacecraft. My second story isn't as mysterious, but I simply can't explain, except for me being extremely lucky to the point where it doesn't make sense to have happened. When I was much younger, I once fell from a third-floor balcony and crashed face first onto a gravel path. But I was completely fine. I walked away with absolutely no bruises, scratches, or injuries at all on any part of my entire body. Not even scuff marks on my hands or the knees. To this day, every time I think back on that accident and try to make sense of it, I can literally come up with nothing. It was either some abnormal freak of nature scenario or something supernatural stepped in to keep me alive. So it was a third floor balcony, crashing onto gravel and no injuries at all. Yeah,
Wow.
that's incredible. That's definitely like a divine intervention. And I don't mean to imply it has to be an angel or angelic, but it's just a incredibly lucky occurrence of something stepping in to help you. And I don't know, maybe luck's not the right word, but you know what I mean. I mean, there's another example of a lot of energy that it would take to stop someone from experiencing perhaps their own death. Maybe it is a guardian angel, though. That would make sense.
Yeah, it could be.
I like the idea of guardian angels. I really do. I think that's a fantastic concept, and I don't mean to to even dismiss it in any sense. I really want that to be true. I really want it to be where we all have someone looking over our shoulder and making sure we're okay. I have to say though, it's what really always trips me up about this. And it's not necessarily in a bad way, but you wonder, why did that happen for one person and yet so many other people just boom, that's it. It's lights out, it's game over. So this one person, does it speak to the fact that we all have our time and this just wasn't the right time? Is it just something like that, or is it just that in this instance, this whatever's guardian of this person really interceded and protected them? But why doesn't it happen for other people? And that's the part that's really hard to understand. That's where I get stuck. What do you think, Sheldon?
That's a tough one. I've been wondering that for a long time too. Mm-hmm. A long time. And I just, the only way I can kind of rationalize why that might be is just the age-old saying where it was their time and it's not that person's time type of thing. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
But I mean, what kind of world would we be living in if everybody got saved all the time, every time?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's the other part of it is that, obviously it's all a matter of a cycle. We live in a cycle. We are part of that cycle, and sometimes that cycle rolls around and we're at the end of that cycle, and that's all there is to it. But it's still an odd thing. But I don't know. What do you all think out there? Do any of you have ideas about that? Why do some people experience these amazing,
miracles?
Miracles, yeah, for sure. That's a great term. Miracles or experiences, whereas other people don't. Do you have any concepts about that? And that's the thing. The portal's always a discussion, so I'm always curious what people have, in their heads about this stuff, what they think, because I don't claim to know.
Rachel says, this young lady who's on TikTok survived a volcanic ash blast while her dad and sister didn't make it. It can be tragic.
Wow. And is there, I don't know the circumstances of this, but I imagine that they were all in the same place, but for some reason this one person made it and the other people didn't. Wow. That's, it's got to be a horrible thing too. In a case like that, it would almost be harder to survive because, I think life continues. I don't think that once we reach that mortal end of our journey, we just continue on. But those that remain have to bear the burden and the pain of missing those parts of their lives. So,
a way that I've kind of thought of it too was that, I mean, the way I believe in things and events, even as tragic as like some of the events like Rachel was talking about, is that there's got to be a reason for it. There's something to be learned from it, or it's going to affect something in a certain way that's going to push this, or I just feel like there's got to be a reason for it. It can't just for nothing, I mean, I can't believe that.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And it's maybe it's in some cases just to help people continue to believe that there's, some some good force out there still working to, help keep things okay. I don't know. Very cool. Very cool. And if any of you have any other thoughts, please let us know in the chat. You can do that, or you can call in. What?
Marley Jane says, I believe we have planned exit points and when we come into this life. In cases like that, it wasn't one of those planned exit points.
Mm-hmm. I think you're probably right, and that's kind of where I've come to. But it's I think it's fascinating. I think it's, we do have a journey. There's a purpose to all of this. There's a purpose for each one of us in our respective journeys. And maybe that's exactly right. Maybe it's just a case where, ooh, that shouldn't happen. Let's make that okay. And so there's a intervention to keep that from happening. And I think that's beautiful, And I guess it also is, as hard as it is to accept the outcomes of some people's journeys. It's like, we never like to let go of those we love. We don't want to know that absence and that pain. So whenever a passing happens, it's of course it's a devastating thing, but to believe that, this was their point, this was their time. It does lend itself to an acceptance, because everything is for a reason, including the way that we walk out, So I think that's a great point. Thank you for sharing that. All right, let's continue on and go to the next one here. And this is the man of the hour, number 36. I have a mystery man in my house. My husband and I, for a time, slept in separate rooms, and he would often come into the room that I was in the mornings to get clothes or socks. And I'd be aware that he was in the room, but I generally just ignored it because I didn't want to wake up yet. And this is a fairly regular occurrence that I'd gotten completely used to for a while. Then, a few times, it seemed like he was just standing there. I woke up to the awareness of somebody standing there. Of course, I figured it had to be my husband. It ticked me off mildly, but each time I just dozed back off and forgot all about it. But it was no big deal in my mind, just a weird little sensation that I had noticed. After one particular episode of this, I was very upset because my husband had apparently been standing there for some time, and I thought he was supposed to be at work already. I opened my eyes, and there was a man at the end of my bed. But it wasn't my husband. I have no idea who it was, actually, and it took me a split second to process what I was witnessing. And then I literally screamed and jumped up as fast as I could. But just like that, the man was gone without a trace. I finally confronted my husband about a lot of those times that I thought it was him standing and hovering over my bed silently while I slept, but it turns out it wasn't him. And that spooked the heck out of me. My husband and I eventually ended up getting a divorce for a number of personal reasons, but the mystery man has still stuck around, and I don't really get a sense of malevolence when he's there. It's just a general feeling of being watched. And I know that it definitely isn't sleep paralysis, because I can fully awake and control my body even when it's happening. Hey, all you parents out there, when you're asleep and your kid comes into the room wanting something and they're there before opening your eyes? This feels exactly like that. I've sat up or opened my eyes many, many times in the morning expecting to see one of my kids, but only to see the mystery man instead. That's kind of weird. It's the same man every single time. Tall, slim, dark hair, kind of an impish look. He's actually quite handsome. His features are quite pleasant. He always seems to be smiling mildly. Over the years, he's scared the heck out of me on multiple occasions, though. If this is a recurrent dream, it really sucks, and I wish it would stop happening, but there's more. I've also noticed that he's been slowly moving from the end of my bed up to the side near my head. There is nothing like opening your eyes and looking right beside your head, expecting to see a 5-year-old, and instead seeing a pair of long adult legs that go way up above your eye level. Okay. And then you see this man looming over you, and that vision continues to vividly endure even for a flash after switching the light on. I swear I'm going to have a heart attack one day as the result of this. The last time I saw him, he did something that I'd never seen him do before. He was right near the head of my bed again, but this time, when I opened my eyes, it was like he had been waiting for me and leaned his face in until he was literally eye to eye with me. He had a huge grin on his face, and his face was maybe only about 6 inches away from my face. I screamed my head off and scurried away. Then I turned on all the lights. It was terrifying. Again, I don't get any sense of malevolence from him per se, but being a single woman alone in my house with my children, it's very much a sense of why is there a man in my house? And where is my machete waiting for me? We're going to have to pick it up on the other side, folks. Don't go away for more of the Paranormal Portal.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, ripping scars across my heart. Raging anger boils inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
A nightmare from which they cannot wake. I can't see you, Mommy. Where are you? I've never sensed anything like it. not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that's different from themselves. Her life force is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hour number 2 is now upon us. Came up kind of suddenly. But we got more. And before the break, we're working through this story. It's a really long one. But it's talking about a woman that continuously awakens to an apparition of a man standing next to her bed. Started out the foot of bed. Over time has worked to where the guy is standing right next to her. And the last one where he was just bent down eye to eye with her, smiling, and it's really kind of freaky. We'll continue that story, but let me reconnect TFR quick and see if we can get rid of that static. Oh, thank you, Suzanne. Appreciate it.
Suzanne, thank you.
There we go. Get it reconnected. And boom. Pristine audio once again, folks. Sound like a flowing, babbling brook next to us, but now it's all nice and quiet. So, but we're working through this story. It's really a fantastic story, but she just woke up and said, why is there a man in my house? And where is my machete for me? So let's continue this story because it is a good one. And hate to leave you all hanging like that. So let's see where it goes. It says, I don't know if it means anything or makes any difference, but I've actually sat there and talked, hoping that whatever this creature is would hear me, especially after the last time. I've made a point of giving this communication attempt a serious shot, so I sat there in my room and said out loud that if anyone wants attention, that's okay. Wants my attention, that's okay, but I added that this is not the way to do it and that you're scaring me. I haven't really had scary problems ever since making this announcement, and it has been around 6 months since then at this point. There has not been one incident with the mystery man in all that time, positive or negative, which only reinforces my belief that he is some kind of supernatural ghost. But there's one more thing. I found out that my grandmother apparently had a mystery man in her house as well. Not quite the same way, but that she definitely believed she had one. And she wasn't someone to lie or even over-dramatize things. She apparently often claimed that she'd see this man watching her in broad daylight in her home. Similar thing, she thought it was an intruder. She didn't actually stop and question it until after he was gone. I wish she was still alive so I could ask her more about her experience with this. I do remember hearing about somewhat similar things as a kid, but I remember it as being a much more benign or even positive thing. Back then, I would feel like I had someone sleeping with me in my bed, only to find that there was nobody there. Yet it vividly felt like someone was. I just thought my stuffed animals must have come alive at night or something because I was only a kid at the time and not capable of really examining the situation at any deeper level than that. I'm trying to choose to think of it as some sort of benign and possibly hereditary guardian if any of this stuff is actually real. I have some terrible, terrible things happen to me in my life, and a consistent theme in my dreams and my sleep. And my sleep is me feeling completely loved, but without quite being able to recognize where the source of that love is coming from. And then I wake up feeling deeply loved even when nobody in my life really does love me. Oh, that's sad. I hope that's not true. I don't know if I truly believe any of this stuff, but if there really is any guardian out there that does this stuff for me, I am forever grateful. Either that or my brain is just really good at fulfilling my subconscious needs in my sleep. In which case, thank you, brain. Thank you, brain. Thank you, brain. Woo!
Either way, someone's getting credit.
No, I mean, it's good that it's not a negative experience. It's not like it's pinning her down or, or sucking the life force out of her or something. It's just there. And it seems to, want to impress, a genuine good feeling because it smiles, like lightly, like, a little grin. I don't know. It's a strange thing though. But there again, folks, that theme comes up over and over and over and over in the paranormal. It's that a lot of times if you claim your space and you say, look, I know you're there, but, and then talk about what bothers you and what you're not okay with and that it needs to stop, 99% of the time it usually does. In that 1 or 5 to 1% or however that it doesn't, then you're dealing with something darker and you need probably to find some help. But in most cases, just let them know, hey, I'm not good with this. This is not okay. You need to knock it off. And in most cases, these are not, evil, malicious things. They're just, could be ancestral, could be, as she said, a guardian, could be any number of things. Could be a guide, a spirit guide of some kind, just watching over her. In any case, I think it's cool that she had that discussion and it's, basically stopped. What do you think, Sheldon?
I agree. I mean, as long as it stops after you claim that your space type of thing, I think you're good after that.
Yeah, it seems like it. Definitely seems good to me, but we'll do one more since that was a fractured one. And this one's also another long one. So this one actually has a person attributed to it. The last one was a permalink again, so we don't know who wrote it, but it was a very, very interesting experience. And Rachel said that she was listening to a different podcast. Let me see if I can see what it was. It was a 3-part story. She said, I've heard on Strange Familiars podcast about a man who has appeared to 2 women in dreams and real life. The guy kind of has the appearance of the one in your article. Wow. And she said it's a 2 or even 3-part story of the podcast. Well, I'm going to have to check that out. That sounds wonderful. And I think is that Timothy Renner's Strange Familiars? Is that his? I think it is, but he's actually someone I got to reach out to anyway. Connect with. Hub says, all your music is great. Oh, thank you. Maggie posted that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Again, it's never been an ego thing for using the music on the show. It was really just a necessity because starting the shows, I used to play a lot of different music and then I started to get those YouTube slaps and it's like, oops, can't do that. So the only thing I knew I could play without any problem was the stuff I'd written. So that's what brought my music to the show. And I'm glad because, I didn't expect that it was going to be a huge thing and that people would, I'm thrilled that people are, but it was just out of necessity. So I'm glad it's been well received for the most part. Every once in a while I get a real creepy comment about it, but that's okay. Those actually make me chuckle on them. I'm actually surprised by that because, I think, I take a lot of pride in the music. It's part of me processing emotions or just trying to project an emotion in the form of sound. And, I thought, God, if somebody really rails on this, that's going to suck. But 99% of the comments have been amazing. 1% have been really comically critical. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. All right. Dubmass 11. I haven't seen Poltergeist since I was a kid. It's a great movie, though. Poltergeist is a great movie. It's one of those that especially the first and second one. I like them both. I think there was a third one, but I don't know. I don't know if that one was any good or not. I don't really recall, but I think those first 2 were awesome. That old guy.
I didn't know there were 3 of them. Wow.
I know there's 2 of them for sure, but I think there was a third one that wasn't necessarily even the same characters. It was just another revamp or another effort at continuing that line. But that creepy old guy in the second one reminded me of the creepy guy from my own dreams and your dreams, Sheldon.
Oh, yeah.
We both experienced that.
Trench coat hat guy.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the one. Excuse me, I got a cough. Hold on. So number 37, we're going to read this one and then we'll start taking off into other stuff that we got to cover on the show. Take off your coat and stay a while. I may be late to this party, but screw it. I live in a haunted house, and I don't mean haunted like Amityville Horror or something like that, but our house is almost 100 years old and we have a ghost living in it. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. Our first clue to this being's existence was shortly after we first moved in, when some money I had laid on the bedside table suddenly went missing inexplicably. My significant other didn't take it. The dogs didn't eat it. It hadn't fallen under or behind the table as far as I could tell. It was just there one minute and then gone the next without a trace. I ended up finding the money several months later when unpacking a box from our former apartment. The box was still sealed with packing tape. It's like magicians. That's so cool. That's amazing. And the money was in the middle of the pile of papers and other stuff in the box. Again, this sealed box was from our former apartment where we had lived before moving into this house, yet money that had gone missing after we moved into this house was somehow buried deep within it, protected by many layers of tape. And for those of you wondering how I know that this was the same money, nice try. I know it. I know it was the same money because of the order of the bills and the way it was folded, neither of which was usual for me. Well, a coworker had paid me back for something and done it that way, so I hadn't had another pile of cash folded in that way at any other point that I could remember. And it was the exact same amount that had gone missing from the table too, and that was the first sign that something wasn't 100% normal in this house. But it certainly wouldn't be the last. The second incident involved the ceiling fan reversing. The thing straight up stopped and started turning the other way while I was watching. Not like slowed down either, but stopped completely in its own tracks. And then I saw the ghost one night. My significant other swears that I must have been dreaming, but I know that I was wide awake. When I saw him, he was hanging a hat on the coat stand in the hallway, where we don't normally have one. And he looked right at me, and I could see him clearly. He seemed to sort of glow or be illuminated from a light somewhere nearby. And I can describe him in detail to this day, right down to the fashions he wore, his mustache, and even his tired but kind eyes. Somehow, I also knew his name. His spirit seemed to have somehow telepathically informed my mind that his name was Philip. Since then, he somehow makes mischief. Or he sometimes makes mischief. My dogs seem to see him at times too, and he occasionally has fun playing with their ball, even in the backyard. He makes winds. I've made a few of those. Plays with the fan. Sorry. Sorry, just the low-hanging fruit. Sorry. Plays with the fan and even leaves footprints from time to time. He is annoying. If he's annoying or frightening us, we just simply firmly say, "Philip, please stop that." And he always does. I don't mind him. I sort of like him, actually. He does not seem to have any bad intentions of any kind, and I've looked for records and clues about who he might have been during his lifetime. But as best as I can piece together, he appears to have rented a room here during the Great Depression, so there weren't really keeping any paper records that I can take a look at. That was by Mama Crocker. Very cool. Mama Crocker. Well, those old houses, they got a pretty deep memory.
Yeah. No, I agree. Let's see the message. Sorry. Andrew Peardy says, yeah, there was 3. Unfortunately, I've only seen part of the first. Need to make time for them. But one 80s movie that freaked me out was Firestarter.
Oh yeah, with Drew Barrymore. Yeah, that was pretty good. I only remember seeing that once, and even then, not a lot of it. But yeah, it was kind of a tragic story. But that was also Stephen King, wasn't it? No, but not that Poltergeist was Stephen King. But yeah. I think that I recall that being a good movie as well. But
also, Don Mess asks, have you heard what happened to the little girl in Poltergeist?
Yeah,
tragic.
Actually, yeah. If you watch on our Paranormal Portal pieces, we did an excerpt from a interview that we did with Christopher Everard, and he actually mentions that in there what happened. Well, yeah, that happened to her. And then apparently the teenage girl from those movies also passed away. So there was a lot of creepy speculation about that. There was stories that the corpses that were used were actual corpses in the movie that floated in the pool, that they weren't just made up or makeup and CG or special effects. I don't know if that's true or not, but it is a creepy thought.
That sounds illegal.
What? Yeah, it really does. My illegal alarm is going off. Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
I'm sure that probably would be illegal, but could you imagine being the actor and having to go into a pool with all these corpses in it and then swim around? Nope.
Time to call it quits after that.
There ain't a fat enough contract in the world to make that happen for me. It's like, nope. That's a big nope. But anyway, we're going to close this part of the show and get on to the next part, which is there's a series of articles that I've got pulled up from Phantoms and Monsters. And this is a pretty good overview of the material that he has over there. And all of these are relatively new within the last week or so. But there's a great cross-section. I really hope you guys will go check out phantomsandmonsters.com, because Lon Strickler is of course the person that created and does that. And he does a great job, and they are not only a repository for weird and unusual, they actually research this stuff as well, and that I find that really cool and very intriguing. They've been doing a lot of research into the Mothman sightings that continue to come up and happen, not as much on Point Pleasant, West Virginia, where the Mothman kind of hit the map, but the Chicago area. There's apparently a lot of sightings of Mothmen or Mothman-like people that people are witnessing over in the Chicago area. And I know he's got the Waylands are part of that team. They have the singular40.com, and they found some really interesting stuff. You got to check it out, but definitely head over to phantomsandmonsters.com, support what he's doing over there. Check out all of the amazing stuff. There's a huge repository of stories on the Dogman over there, and there's also quite a lot of stories about the Black Eyed Kids that we'll probably tap into during a future Black Eyed Kids show. But I wanted to read these stories, and the first one tonight I thought was kind of cool. But this one is coming from Illinois as well. But let's see, let me put it on screen here first. This is again from phantomsandmonsters.com. And it's from December 2nd, 2021. Huge gargoyle encountered several times in Stillman Valley in Illinois. Now, they do get people contacting, Lon gets people submitting their stories to him quite often, and then he creates these articles about them, and it's pretty fascinating. But let's see, it says, an Illinois woman contacted me about her 3 encounters with a huge gargoyle-like being in Stillman Valley, Illinois. 3 other witnesses have also encountered this winged entity. A lot of 3s going on there. This woman had 3 encounters, but 3 other witnesses have had encounters. I recently received the following account. I live in Rockford, Illinois, specifically in Stillman Valley in Ogle County, or Ogle County. I don't know how you pronounce that. Ogle? Okay. My friend and I were driving around to 3 to 4 a.m. and we saw a huge 7 to 10 foot tall creature that had a huge wingspan. We almost hit it with the car, but when it got close, it just flew straight up and over the top of the car. It looked like a gargoyle. My friend and I both looked at each other with our jaws dropped and exclaimed, like, did you see that? What was that? This was in 2015. Then a year later, in the exact same place, when my mom was driving me to the hospital because I had a horrible migraine, she also had an encounter with the gargoyle. It occurred around the same time, early in the morning. I also used to drive that same road every night for about a year straight in 2016 to take my girlfriend home. In the exact same spot we witnessed it together. So in total, I have seen this same gargoyle-like creature 3 times, and 3 other people encountered it with me. Again, 3s. That's pretty interesting. The location was right by the trucking company called Glendenning Brothers Trucking, right off of Route 72 in Stillman Valley, Illinois. That's very interesting. So what do you think, Sheldon, about the possibility of these huge gargoyle-like things out there as well?
That's literally what I was contemplating in my mind, is whether, like, what I even think or feel about that. It's, I think it's dishonest to probably say that, oh yeah, I believe in this and this and this, but all that other stuff, that's mumbo jumbo, because we're talking about the paranormal, things that you can't measure, or really, you can try to explain it, but you probably don't have the full picture anyway. Mm-hmm. So all I can say is, just like with everything else, it's possible. It could be.
Yeah. Here's the thing. For every, this is where I'm at with it, is for every legend and lore, it started somewhere with somebody experiencing something. And right. It might be embellishment. It might be, obviously the whole gargoyle by day, living by night kind of thing is it's hard to get your head around stuff like that with our Western sensibilities. But there is a grain of truth in every legend. There's some impetus that created it, some experience that gave birth to the stories that we hear today, and they change over time. But is it possible? Well, it seems, for most people, I'm sure, seems very unlikely, because why don't more people see them if they're around? Now, what I think of in those cases is, do we know that they originate here, that they're actually from here? And I don't necessarily mean that they come from other worlds aboard starships, although that's a possibility. But perhaps what we understand as dimensions are more malleable than we believe. That in many cases, some of these strange, weird creatures that people have encountered, and some of them are standalone encounters. They're like unlike anything anyone else has seen. And it's like experienced for a short time and then is just gone. Like there's many experiences like the I don't know, it's the Loveland frog people or whatever, that over a period of time, people were seeing, and I don't remember where Loveland is, but they were seeing these 3-foot frog-like people. They look like frogs. They had these enlarged heads and stout bodies, and I think they were bipedal, but then that just kind of stopped. Then whatever happened. So what if they either appear here just because they got stuck or happened upon some fluctuation in our dimensional realities where they're able to shift over here for a brief period or something? Or what if they do it consciously, that they kind of come and go as they please? They maybe have a knowledge of how this stuff works, right?
I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying too, is that for me to sit here and say what is possible and what's not possible, for anyone out there who might think what is possible and what's not possible, how can you say that without knowing how these things work? And we are, I mean, it could be hundreds of years before we even figure out how interdimensional travel works and all these other things. So
right.
I think it's good to have an open mind, at the very least, an open mind about these things and what could be the possibilities.
Yeah. Android says, I wonder why there's so much paranormal stuff in Pennsylvania and Ohio and West Virginia, but then much less reports in my state of Maryland, which is surrounded by these states. And I don't know how or why. I guess that's a great question. Is it something to do with ley lines? Is it something to do with possible being Virgin's points for some energies, systems that we don't yet understand? Or is it have to do with population densities? And I'm not sure how that works, but anywhere you have more people, you're going to get more sightings. But it doesn't necessarily imply that things don't happen other places. It's just that there's these, population centers that sometimes people are seeing more stuff, and maybe it's because those ley lines or energetic vergences of some kind are prevalent in those occupied areas, and then in other cases, they're just out in the middle of nowhere. So things are coming and going all the time, and nobody's there to watch it. So it's the old, does the tree make a noise when it falls in a forest that nobody's there to observe it? Well, in reality, no, because if there's no one there to experience it, it's just may as well not be happening at all. So, because of course, sound is a perceived phenomena. We perceive it. It's heard. And if
technically it would create a sound because sound is just vibrations in the air, and whether someone's there to listen to it or not, it's still going to create those vibrations in the air.
You're kind of missing the point. The point is that
just saying.
Thank you. He's in the lab, folks. It's no wonder he thinks like this. But
yeah, churro, it's perfect.
Wow, there's the break, folks. We'll get back to it. More of these weird reports. Don't go away.
Radio.
got to tell you, that last break happened so abruptly. It doesn't feel like it's possible, right?
We always find the impossible here.
I know, but I mean, it felt like about 10 minutes, and it was, if that, and it just flew. It flew.
That's what happens when you're having fun.
Yeah, it is what happens when you have fun. I'm having fun. You having fun, Sheldon?
I'm having lots of fun.
If you want to continue having fun after our show, if you're listening on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, or TalkStream Live, stick around for Paisley Wild, The Spaces Between coming up next. She should be on following us. So some great discussion. It's fascinating topics, and you stand to learn quite a bit if you tune in. So check it out. And she's a dear friend, full disclosure. She's a dear friend and really does a fantastic job. I mean, it's just a good community. Several of our listeners are in her chat as well. And you can watch her streaming live on YouTube at youtube.com/thespacesbetween. And since we're talking and plugging other sites, let me just put this in the chat now before I forget. We would really appreciate it. We have another Paranormal Portal YouTube channel, and this is where the short videos are posted. And these are our way to encapsulate the 2-hour long episodes into smaller bite-sized chunks, so people can check them out, and hopefully they'll like what they hear and go check out the full versions here on the Paranormal Portal. But would mean a lot to us if those of you here listening would check out this site that I'm just posting in the YouTube chat, and it's youtube.com/paranormalportalpieces, and that's our secondary channel. We'd love for you to get subscribed over there and check out the videos that are there. There's some great ones, but we could sure use your support in helping to build that as well. So
yes,
check it out.
Do.
Check it out for sure. And let's see, anything else that I'm forgetting? Of course, check out the Paranormal Portal fans page on YouTube or on Facebook as well. And that's a great growing community. It's blossoming. Lovely. Oh, Alicia's going to bed. Is that right? Good night, Alicia.
Yeah.
Oh, Alicia. Okay. All right. Headed to bed. 2 a.m. here. Oh, we'll get some rest. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for being a part of the journey tonight. That's really wonderful. But where are we at? Oh, we're going through some reports from Lon Strickler's phantomsandmonsters.com. We just covered a gargoyle one and some great...
Oh, yeah, Android had a response for you anyway.
Please.
Android says, I've seen reports on these paranormal eyewitness shows that report these dark entities that haunt their home looking like gargoyles. So I think they could be demons/elementals.
Sure. Yeah, and of course the classical description of a lot of demons, especially from old old European descriptions, would make them very much like the gargoyles that were carved into like Notre Dame and other places of that era. And so perhaps you're right. Perhaps there's a method behind that madness. Perhaps those are the inspiration for what became the gargoyles. And so maybe they are more of a spiritual thing than a physical thing, and maybe they're both. Who knows? Again, we don't really know what we're dealing with in these things, and quite honestly, most people will never deal with these things. They're just these weird oddities that kind of surface from time to time, but the interesting thing is the enduring stories that continue to come up even in present day. It's not like these things are relegated to a time long ago where people believed in a lot of different things, but they're still happening today, and I find that to be fascinating and of course even a little disturbing, because we don't know what's going on. We don't know where these things are coming from, or where, what is the reason that they're here? Is there a reason? Is it just somebody in the chat, and I don't remember who, suggested that maybe it was Rachel, that they were the interdimensional perhaps victims of whatever the phenomenon is that is the missing 411 phenomena, where people here just are gone, suddenly gone. So perhaps these are things that came from somewhere else and just popped into our reality or our existence, and they're not from here. And that's a good point. I mean, we just don't know. There's a lot we don't know. So Let's continue and look into some other of these fantastic reports from phantomsandmonsters.com, and we're going to go to the next one. And this one is kind of cool because I love this topic very much because I think time slips are a real thing. And again, phantomsandmonsters.com, special thanks to Lon Strickler for allowing us here on the show to use some of these articles and to talk about them. But this is time slips. The good thing is that you always return. And I'm not sure what this is. I haven't read it yet, but let's see what it says. A British man describes a recent time slip event at an international airport that left him questioning similar events that have occurred throughout his life. Have you had similar incidents? And he says, I received the following account. Myself and my two youngest kids were at the international airport. I assume it was at Heathrow. That's what Lon says, recently. And we were catching a bucket flight to Paris. I don't know what a bucket flight is, but okay. When the flight was announced, it looked like the waiting area just emptied and headed down a passenger corridor, including my two kids. As I started down the single long corridor, I realized I was well behind the group at the end of the corridor, and they all went downstairs. They had gone. I felt lonely in this empty corridor, but kept walking, and then I heard footsteps behind me. I thought, I'm not alone. I glanced to my right, and there was a man in a brown suit and shoes, wearing a 40s-style suit. I glanced to my left and saw a woman smartly dressed in black jacket, skirt, and a black half-heel shoes, handbag, and a short black hair. About 10 yards later, I stopped hearing the man's footsteps, so I quickly looked to my right, but the man wasn't there. I glanced to the left, and the woman was still there. When we got to the stairs, I stopped to let the woman go first, but she wasn't there. I looked back along the corridor, and there were no ramps off the corridor. Yes, doors, but if they used one of them, it would have dropped 20-plus feet. I headed down the stairs and met my son and asked where Paige, my youngest daughter, was. He replied that she went back up the stairs to look for you. I looked back up the stairs. My daughter stared down the stairs. Her first words to me, how did you get there? I said, I came along the corridor and down the stairs. She said, Dad, you weren't there. I went back along the corridor to find you and you weren't there. I said, I was there. No, you weren't. I said, it seems to have happened again. The kids know about these events. We boarded the flight to Paris. Well, any crackpot could come up with this. However, this has happened to me since I was 7. Unusual, yes, but maybe not. I don't know. I can enter a room and be in a completely different time and place. When they started happening, my mother said, the good thing is that you always return. She wasn't fazed by it. She said she had seen a lot of comic book stuff in Germany in 1945. Wow. So this is a person that apparently experiences this quite often. Or at least more than once. I don't know. That's very strange.
Interesting.
Right? And it's just something as simple as walking along a corridor, being alone, and then realizing you're seeing people that you probably wouldn't see, and they're disappearing, and then suddenly you're back in your own timeline. Wow. What if you went back?
I think that's one of the biggest things that intrigue me about these stories is, how is this happening? Is it a mind state? Is it something they're hitting somehow that they're, because the other stories, they're like, they get transported and all of a sudden their partner or whoever has completely different ideas, completely different stories, forgot all of the other, it's like, what is going on?
Just imagine though, if he slipped back in time when there wasn't a ramp there and dropped 20 feet to the ground.
Yeah.
Oof. Ooh, that would be ugly. I don't know. That's a strange story though. I don't know what to make of that. Again, it's these oddities, these strange things that happen, but a very cool article, and it really gets your gears turning. It's like, what is going on? What is exactly happening here? All right, and I got another one of these from Phantoms and Monsters. And again, this is a good cross-section of the kind of material you're going to find over there, but there's so much more than this as well. And I, full disclosure, I'm not like on a profit sharing thing here. I really like what he does over there at phantomsandmonsters.com, and he's been a guest on our show, and I really want to support what he's doing because I think these things are amazing. These sites are amazing that we use on the show, and I want to promote them all as much as I can because I love that all these different sites are doing so much legwork to bring this information, to all of us. So it's just my way of saying thank you to them. And of course, thank you to Lon again. But this one is more about the Bigfoot. This is from December 11th, 2021, which today is the 11th. This is from today. This is today old, folks. So it's hard to believe it's already the 11th of December. All right, this is dark gray Bigfoot recently encountered outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Oh, side note, somebody, I don't know who it was in the chat, if it was Android or whoever, but it was talking about, oh yeah, we did kind of address it. Yeah, with the why Ohio, why Pittsburgh, why, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We did talk about that. Sorry. It came back to me when I saw Pittsburgh. It's like, oh yeah. No, I don't know why. It's so strange, but Ohio's off the charts. Pittsburgh's off the charts. But again, maybe it's everywhere. And it's just that the way that the population centers are dispersed, they just happen to be in Ohio and in Pittsburgh. Maybe where the people are is where these weird phenomena are, where whatever's causing them to appear in our world and become a part of it. But
I don't know if you know what this means, but Rachel says, sounds like a House of Leaves situation. I don't know what that is.
I can't say I do either. I don't know. It's not something I'm aware of. But let us know what a House of Leaves situation is. Okay, this one says, a resident of suburban Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, recently had an encounter with a dark gray hairy hominid, supposedly a Bigfoot, in their backyard. The being was as tall as the utility shed it was standing beside. Wow. Good morning. My name is Aaron. I live just outside of Pittsburgh. Thursday night, Friday morning, the 10th of December. Around 1 a.m., I was loading up the back of my truck to take the trash down to the end of the driveway for the morning. As I was doing this, I kept hearing loud branches breaking and cracking. What sounded like a very large animal walking in my backyard, directly in front of my truck. Seeing as how we live in a farmhouse with 28 acres of land and having black bears, I turned my low beams on and noticed something standing upright by my old woodshed in the backyard. I go and turn on the high beams, and that's when I saw it. A dark gray bipedal animal stood as tall as my shed. It just stood there staring at me like it was studying me. I ran back into the house to grab my shotgun, not to hurt it, but for my own protection just in case. But when I came back out, it was gone. I believe in Bigfoot, and I believe I saw Bigfoot in my backyard. Before I bought the farmhouse, it was vacant for over 4 years. And living on 28 plus acres, that doesn't even get touched. 28 acres, some that doesn't even get touched. Okay. I honestly believe it made a home in this area, and from the research, I've gathered the older the Bigfoot, the grayer is the hair. I plan on going out today to look for evidence. If you'd like me to keep you updated, just respond in the response email and letting me know, and thank you for your time. And Lon's note is, I plan to keep track on the sighting and to get more specific information. The Phantoms and Monsters 40 and research team is investigating. Any updates will be posted here. So there are no more updates, but again, this is from today. Fantastic. And that is something that comes up, folks, that people that experience Bigfoots, they do tend to notice that they do age. They do age, and they kind of like the way dogs, if you have a black lab or golden retriever, or even any dog, when they get older, they do get gray hairs, and it seems to be the same case for the Bigfoot. Sheldon, do you know that?
Do I know what? I'm so sorry.
Welcome to the show, Sheldon. Thanks for coming. No, I said that it's a phenomenon.
Yeah, that they age. Yes.
Yeah. Well, not that they age, but that they have gray hair when they age. Yeah.
I didn't know that, but I guess I would have assumed so. I guess I didn't think about it. I guess I just assumed that. Oh.
Yeah, it seems that the older, it's a speculation, of course, because we know so very little, but there are those sightings where they do look like they got the old salt and pepper look, and they appear to be very large, but perhaps they're older and I don't know. See, my idea, and this is just my idea, for whatever reason, I can't even begin to tell you, but it just seems to me that they probably have a pretty extensive range. Not that they necessarily migrate seasonally, but I think they work through this range of their habitat, at different times of the year. And that could be to follow ripening berries. It could be to follow fruit-bearing trees. It could be to follow game. It could be for any number of reasons that they move throughout this given range that they occupy throughout the year. And I think the older ones probably maybe can't keep up as well. And so they end up, really hanging out near civilization to an extent. Because again, I really think that that human beings are, we throw away a lot of stuff. I'm so sorry. We throw away a lot of foods and stuff that most of the entire animal kingdom would find absolutely perfect. But we just, this passed the date, let's throw it away. And so it would be very feasible that if there were a Bigfoot that were aging and not able to chase down deer and such as well as it used to and to compete for food, then maybe it would go to where it doesn't have to work so damn hard. And so
that's a good point, actually. Yeah, I mean, our trash cans are gold mines. Yeah.
I mean, there's people that survive themselves on trash, and that's, it's a sad state of things, but it's the truth. So if this is indeed an intelligent being, then why does that, seem hard to believe that they go, well, I can't run down deer anymore. It's just too hard. I'm going to get injured or worse. And so I'll just go over here and check out the garbage, and could live probably very well on what we throw away.
Oh, yeah.
Just some thoughts, folks. But if you got other ideas, I'd love to hear them as well. If they stay in one place, it's too easy to be seen and found. I think it's for preservation too. Yeah, it could be a good point, Brooks. I think that you're very true, very right. That's very right. With a family group, it is harder, but if it's just a lone elder Sasquatch, then they can probably stay hidden pretty easily. But if you're having to conceal a whole family group or clan, then you're right. What's funny?
Oh, Dubmass in chat. Just LMAO Trashfoot.
We will call him Trashfoot. Yeah, gotta love the Trashfoot. Yeah.
Oh, also, Rachel did explain the House of Leaves. House of Leaves is a weird novel with a house that starts slightly bigger on the inside, then new hallways and rooms appear with out of the home getting bigger on the outside. Maybe the man walked down a different hallway and reappeared back in his world.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it sounds like a great book, actually. That sounds really cool. Huh.
Yeah.
The House of Leaves. I like it. I like that concept. That's very cool. Never heard of it before, but yeah, I mean, we don't understand it when you're especially when you're speaking of potential dimensional physics or whatever. It's like maybe space is different on these other planes too, and what we perceive as a foot could be a mile somewhere else. So maybe in our realm he just he was like going slow motion, but in
I'm so sorry. Oh, it was Consquatch that first said it. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry.
Trashfoot Consquatch. That's a funny name. I like it. Trashfoot. Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, getting back to the Bigfoot, it doesn't surprise me at all that they would take advantage of that. I've heard a story where somebody came across what looked like a very injured Bigfoot. Like very injured, like emaciated and having trouble, but she had a baby, and it was this person came across them and knew that she was struggling to feed this baby. So as I recall the story, and this was a very long time ago, but I think he tended to try to bring foods close to where he found them, and so to help. And I don't know whatever happened, but you got to think how hard that would be. If something happened to the male, and for whatever reason, maybe he didn't make it and whatever, and then she was injured, possibly in the same thing that took out the male, and she's trying to raise this young one all by herself, and Apparently when the person saw him, she just really growled and was very territorial. Of course, what you would expect, because I'm sure they probably fear us, just because we're not the same. I mean, we're similar, but we're not the same. But in the case of this story, the person found the two of them in a very close to an urban area, and it seemed like it was subsisting off of trash, because he found a lot of old wrappers and stuff near where he ended up finding them. And he said he never got close. He just saw them. She growled very aggressively at him, and he backed off. But that, as I recall the story, I think he brought foods and other items there, and then came back over a period of time, and they were gone. So I don't know what happened, but you gotta think, God, that's quite a situation, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
But I will say this: when it comes to the Sasquatch, there are reports, and whatever that means. I mean, anybody can say anything. I got a Bigfoot in my attic, and whatever. But there have been reports that even people have found them living in abandoned homes or abandoned buildings in population centers like Detroit. We've heard of that, and I don't know that there's any merit to it or not, but just knowing how much people actually pay attention, it doesn't surprise me that they could live probably in our cities and we wouldn't probably know it. But anyway, it's a big speculation, and I can't imagine. I think they probably, in a lot of cases, I think that they may live near population centers and then come into them during the night when they know most people are not even awake and out, and get what they can get, and then go back out to their, because I think they can cover some serious ground in no time, just because of their strides and how strong they travel. When it was Albert Osmond's story, when he was in his sleeping bag and was grabbed and being hauled, and he said he could feel them going up one mountain, down another mountain, up another mountain, down another mountain. And he said this thing was just huffing like it was like an asthmatic, but it was just pumping away. And he was stuck in his sleeping bag, slung over the shoulder of this thing. And it's a hell of a story. The Albert Osmond account, if you haven't heard it, I did a podcast about it. And if you look through our podcast archives, I read the entire account. And I find that I think the guy's telling the truth. I really do. And it's an amazing, fascinating insight into what being near a family group like these might look like, and what the things he observed, the things he saw, his experiences. And it actually really, I don't know, makes me feel like you wish you could have that opportunity in some cases, just to see something like that firsthand. But at the same time, I think it would be horrifying, because there's no way he knew that he wasn't on the menu. I mean, that would have to be right in your mind the whole time. It's like, when are they going to try to eat me? When does that come? So it might not be an enjoyable experience at the end of the day, because there are stories of them raiding tribes of Native Americans and carrying off children and women, which never were seen again. So I don't know. Creepy stuff. Rachel, it's a very strangely formatted book. Found documents, articles. Some pages have tons of footnotes. And there's the exploration of the strange hallways, of course, but it's an odd book. Sounds like it's an odd book, but you got to give some authors a lot of credit. I mean, to be able to pen such elaborate tales, like even the Harry Potter books. I love those books. I love those stories. I love those movies. And It's just the depth of the world that she created. And it's fascinating that, she came up with all of this stuff and created an entire, reality around these things. And then you got to wonder, does the act of creating the book create the reality? Do we create our experiences? Ooh, I don't know. Anyway, all I know is we got about a minute left of the show, Sheldon.
Wow. Yep, there it is. Okay, that sounds about right now that I'm looking.
Now that you're paying attention. Well, I hope things go well in the laboratory for you for the rest of the
Oh, things are going great here.
Okay. Well, keep developing, keep building, keep creating, and let people know how to stay in touch with us, Sheldon. Quick.
Well, the best way you can stay in touch with us and most personable is our Discord channel, which I'm going to link right in the chat. You guys can stay in touch with us that way, look at all the cool links, and chat with the community in general if you'd like.
Absolutely. And, of course, we'd love for you to stay in touch with us here. If you're not subscribed, please get subscribed. Check out the Paranormal Portal Pieces channel. And by all means, check out our podcast. It's available on all the podcast players. So this weekend's podcast is going to be released tomorrow night, and it's a one-on-one I had with Mr. Tony Merkel of the Confessionals. It was a great talk, great time, and I hope you guys check it out. So that'll be coming out tomorrow, right in our Paranormal Portal universe. So love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night.